Yeah,
Right?
no doubt, no doubt. I really believe the brand spoke for all of us because it gave us a identity to be able to associate ourselves with,
Hmm.
especially being that we were creatively inclined and we weren't afraid of creating.
Right.
A lot of people are, and with Ottawa, all those that aspire will achieve. It gave us an outlet to be able to create in the direction of fashion. And at that time that we were creating, it was also music.
Yep.
Music was such a dynamic part of it.
Yeah.
Like music, fashion, just the whole vibe, the element of what comes with being raw. We were just original. We believed in that. And I think during that time we followed a lot of influencers, but mainly the people that influenced us were people that were big in the industry. There were FUBUs at that time.
Yeah.
Echo was
Hmm.
doing his thing. We were following the blueprint of what Russell Simmons had laid out when he introduced Fat Form.
Sure.
And you had Baby Fat and a lot of other brands started. And so the idea of Ottawa was our brand, and we infused our brand with every element that we enjoyed. And I say we because it was a group, and to this day, I still infuse it with what I enjoy. And when you create something, you realize things do change
Yeah.
according to the time. So as you develop and you grow, things that your tastes and your creative nature changes into what that looks like for that time.
Yeah.
And so with Ottawa, it's a brand that's allowed me to continue to believe in the idea of creating and believe in the idea that there's still a connection with my personal brand and the way that I help to grow the clothing.
Yeah.
And so I've continued to work with new influencers, new people that inspire me. I continue to build new relationships with people that help add their own layer to what Ottawa means to them as well.
What you should know about him, like I probably haven't seen anything like this in this format, right? And I don't know if anyone's ever described it to you this way, but his fashion line is inspirational. I mean, clearly it's inspirational in title, but he is more philanthropic in nature than he probably gives himself credit for, because he's always on a scene somewhere, and it's always a part of where we call it a micro community. I mean, it really is amongst an associated group of people, but beyond that, his connections that he makes, those people do very inspirational things. They have good messages, they have good intent, and his level of support for those people is astronomical. Like, from a business model, I would just know that you're operating almost like a nonprofit organization off the fashion line. And I'm praying that this works in the bookkeeping nature of this the same way. Like, if this is an MPO, then you should balance your books out very well. Let's just say it is. Let's just say it is, even though you're probably in the red. Like, but the idea of it, though, like in terms of it being as positive as possible, I told this to him. I said, you're probably one of the most positive people that I know. I don't know that many more people that can be this happy all the time.
That's what the lady said when he walked in. She said, "He's so happy."
Oh,
He's so happy.
You know what, you guys?
He's glowing.
Y'all are doing too much now. Look at this.
That's what she
See,
said.
now Hassan
She
is
said
showing
that.
he's flexing his styles right now because this is a part of his PR.
No, it's frustrating. Is what I'm saying.
He's a good PR representative.
No, but
I need
if
a publicist, like,
Yeah.
maybe I need to talk to Hassan about being a publicist to help the brand. You know what I'm saying?
if there's a check involved in that, maybe. You know, but again, man, it's just I observe it because, and again, the nature of the podcast is, and this is where I get to thank you. The nature of the podcast wasn't about me. That's kind of the reason why I tried to title the podcast the way that I did. It's because I'm not speaking from an area that I don't know. I'm not giving you information from where I'm guessing. I'm telling you this because I have at least a little bit of knowledge about what I'm talking about. What I was saying initially is that the rationale behind a lot of growth and development that I had was because of Ottawa fashion. And this has been a bit of a surprise for Roderick, but I really wanted to tell you thank you. And there's probably no better platform for me to do it than the one I got, right? But I wanted to give you that because 18-ish, we're trying to figure out like the creative side of the things that we can do. And I'm all fire with no direction until we have something to do.
Right,
and then I'm just giving everything into it. Right. And I had nothing other than what I was learning in college for me to direct my energies to. Otherwise it was going to go bad. So when you come up with A.T.T.A.W.A, which is a partnership between you and your previous business partner, and putting all that together, I just said, hey man, where can I help? Like that was essentially it. Because what my father has always taught me is that it makes more sense for you to be involved with good people than it is for you to just be involved, right? So I'll introduce that with a thank you.
And I just want to make sure I jump in and just quickly say equally and likewise that our relationship when it took off, of course we weren't on that creative note at that time, but when we got on that creative frequency and we started putting what we both mutually agreed that would be a good working relationship with blending photography and ideas that I had that I really wasn't so concrete on, and that's where you came in and really helped me to see what that idea could develop into and how we could document that idea. And it was so fresh and just
and raw.
We lived in that moment, and it was like we'll talk about later, we were very authentic and we lived our authenticity
for sure
and originality, and when we created. So when we were at the house on the southwest side, I just remember us having that shoot, and just how upstairs, downstairs, models, makeup,
it was a lot.
Creating backdrops.
Oh my God.
Just the whole vibe, the energy. It was too real to make believe. Like it was like, looking back at it now, it could feel unreal, but in the moment it was just like, wow.
What interested me the most about it is that this is the first time I really saw somebody close to me producing product and caring about how it's made, shirt blend quality, print quality, and things like that. So
important stuff.
Really important stuff, instead of concert level, real quick silk screening, right? So then when we get to shooting it, I have it in my head, wow, I need to make sure that we're shooting this the right way to capture this stuff the right way. He's shooting, I can remember it to this day, but the colors in this one shirt is the one young lady, fair skin, red hair, blue shirt with the orange with the yellow sleeves.
And that's our friend Navolia. That's our friend Navolia. This was Envy, we called her.
How many years ago was this? This might be 20 years ago.
And that's why I needed your help, because I forget.
The memory that you have is so vivid, but that goes back to what I'm sitting here just in awe of. Two friends that were creatives that got together and just did it. To me, I think that's beautiful. I think it's just wonderful, and y'all are sitting here today talking about it 20 years ago.
Hey, Trent.
But you know what? Y'all built memories as y'all built your careers. And I think that's beautiful. And y'all had each other to be creative with and bounce things off of. That's wonderful, man.
Constant lights, sheet backdrops, not the pull downs, sheet backdrops. The lights were getting hot. It raises the room up like 10 degrees easily. People are running back. It's pure chaos. And from that, what I think is really cool though is that, look, I'm very critical of my stuff, right? Because even when you posted the last photo, it's like I'm cringing. I was like, this is my history, and I own my history. But if you look at my photo blogs now, it's not the same. There's like a light year of improvement, right, in terms of composition, color, saturation, things like that. Technical stuff, right?
Technical.
But the purity of that shot is like something that I will always carry with me, right?
Man.
And the other one we did underneath the bridge,
right?
Because that was like really raw street stuff, right?
The downtown scene was just,
oh my God.
That was such a
Pre-Super
that was a different element, because we were talking about the previous shoot was in an enclosed setting, but just downtown Houston,
you got to deal with
raw
elements. Couch scene, was it?
No, it's not. It's not. I'll have to show you this picture. It's not even the same day, not even the same year, really. So the stuff, Houston as a scene, that's a really interesting point though. So Houston grew after the Super Bowl. First Super Bowl. We had two of them here, right? So in 2007, we have the Super Bowl, which requires the city to dump, let's say, $1 billion into renovating downtown, building all these nightclubs up, getting rid of the homeless issue that we were having at the time. that left a gap in development in certain sections of downtown, so we kind of took advantage of that.
We really did.
You know, because like Spaghetti Factory was out there in that section.
Yeah, and it was abandoned. We went to several abandoned areas.
A whole lot of abandoned buildings in the middle of town.
For a photographer, though, that's
heaven.
It was like a gold mine. I think we
Man.
just...
Because Rob was like, "Hey, we want something street," and I'm like, "I know just a place." and so out we go.
We had multiple We had multiple places downtown, and I mean,
underneath the subway, at the port, at the port of Houston.
Yeah, the port was beautiful.
So it was a lot of locations that they don't exist anymore, and that's the reason why I was actually so happy to document this and keep this stuff. I have volumes of photos that I'm keeping because maybe they're not the most academic, but they are representation of what this city was, and also what our vision was.
Right.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and you were just out there guerrilla style, so to speak, shooting. Did you have lights with you, or were you just natural light?
That one was natural light.
Yeah,
that was natural light on the second one.
We started that shoot pretty early. I think.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because we had like, I mean, how many people would you think were there roughly?
Might have been 8. Might have been 8 models.
Yeah.
Might have been 8 models.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's like herding cats. So like, you know, that's chaos in itself. You know,
personality.
Everybody's
the weather element.
Hot, you know,
right?
We just talked about that. It's
8 personalities.
It gets ridiculous.
And everybody feels a different way about the temperature. One's hot, one's cold. You know.
Yeah.
And most of them were artists.
And I can just say this: we all came together for a purpose. And it was great because under Hassan's leadership, that was one thing I can tell you. Hassan is a leader when he knows when we get the idea, the moment the idea is developed and the moment the idea is laid out and discussed,
he's running with it.
Number one, on the point.
I think I said that to someone today. I was like, you know, when you want to do something,
It's
don't
his
say it to Hassan.
No,
because he's going to take off.
And you know what? It's a great thing because he takes accountability.
Yeah.
He always takes accountability. If the sun doesn't land on the right shadow,
That's my fault.
It's
That's my fault.
And I always tell him it's okay, man. So it's cool because it's like if a shadow looks a certain way or if a shot doesn't come out the way he envisioned it, it's like it becomes an issue all of a sudden, and it's like, yo, we got a lot of work. We did a lot today.
I think in some rules of business, this is funny. I didn't really expect the podcast to go this way, but in the rules of business, not necessarily like I talked about that with Al before. Shout out to Alistair Hunt. But I talked about that with him before. That's not what I'm meaning by this. In the rules of my business, in terms of how to engage with business, there is accountability. You need to have that. You need to keep your integrity. These are important, but you cannot be above opinion. I don't know everything. All I know is that I'm here to do a task, right? And ultimately, I see what that is, right?